Hi, this is Scott Jordan, and you are watching live here at Cellars of Sonoma in beautiful Railroad Square, Santa Rosa, California. And welcome everybody to TV Tuesday Live. This is the show where we taste wine, we talk about wine, and from time to time I get to interview winemakers and chefs and people in the hospitality business. And we are launching our 9th vintner, and we've got Super Sonoma in the house. Let's hear it for Super Sonoma. Chris Daddy is here from Super Sonoma. So welcome to Cellars of Sonoma. Welcome to Railroad Square, and we also have visiting from afar. We've got Brad Harder from Wyoming, the Wyoming Connection. Brad, welcome.
Hey.
And our resident geek, Dave Batt. Dave's here to chime in for the tech questions, and we get a real tough one.
It keeps them asleep.
Yeah.
They need a nap. They talk to me. That's how that works.
So tonight we are going to showcase the wines that you're going to find in the tasting room, and we're going to have Chris tell the story about Super Sonoman. So I'm going to pour the first wine. You suggested I start right here.
I think we start there.
And tell us about the beginning of how this thing started, and a little bit about the Meritage in the corner.
Well, I fell in love with wine in college and started a company and was able to afford very nice wines and sparkling wines. I went to school in Hawaii, and there were a lot of French wines in Hawaii, very few California wines. So I sort of cut my teeth on winemaking and French wine. And when I moved back to the States, I was out one night in a bar and I met a girl in pink shorts. And she said she was from Sonoma County.
I met a girl in pink shorts.
This is a true story. She's a beautiful woman. I met her at a bar, and she said she was from Sonoma County. I said, if we ever get married, I'm going to be a winemaker. She told me I was completely full of it. Flash forward to 1998, I moved up here and became a winemaker and married the girl in the pink shorts.
Wow!
Yeah.
Now,
Great story.
Thus,
That's awesome.
thus, pink wine.
So this is a very unique rosé.
This is a 2009?
This is 2011.
11, I'm sorry, 11. So you guys bear with me because I'm as new to these wines as you are. This is the very, very first time they've ever been poured in the tasting room with consumers, and that's pretty cool. That's like...
Yeah, and let me tell you what's even more...
Tell me how you made this. This was a shocker when we went through the tasting. This one threw us a curve.
So for those people who have had my wines, I'm fairly well known for making a little bigger style wine. And generally my rosés are 100% Cabernet Saugnés, meaning when the fruit comes in, we literally stomp the fruit, bleed the juice off, and that becomes the rosé. And I personally like Cabernet rosés. They're big, they're different, everybody does them from Pinot and etc. But I usually do my Saugnés purely Cabernet, and they go into 100% new French oak for a year to 2 years as a rosé, which is unique unto itself. This wine, however...
Now, how much is that new oak or?
Yeah, 100%.
So you're putting in new oak. That is unusual.
Now this wine's a little different. So for those of you who do get a chance to try this, it's kind of unique. It is a rosé, but it has Cabernet, Cab Franc, Merlot, Petit Verdot, Carmenere, and what am I forgetting? Cabernet, Cab Franc, Merlot, Malbec. Thank you.
Oh, Malbec.
I have
God
all
forbid
five
you
nobles plus
don't
the
have
plus some Carmenere. I had 2 rows of Carmenere that we bleeded off and made. So this is a true Bordeaux rosé. And I've never done it before. I don't know anybody that ever has. And I wasn't even sure how it was going to turn out. We sort of did it as an experiment. And as it was aging in barrel, I thought, wow, that's a really unique wine. And I actually really love it. It's not as heavy as and intense as some of my rosés are, but I think there's just a beautiful quality of this wine.
Which I'm surprised to hear because this is one of the few rosés. This is the only rosé I've tasted that has some tannic structure to it.
Yeah.
It has some real bite to it, which means it'll stand up to. While I can see through it, it'll stand up to some great food.
But barely see through it.
But
I mean,
barely see through it.
It's unfined and unfiltered.
It was really
Well, it's very
obvious.
fine.
That was well, it threw us off when we did the tasting because we taste, we go through a panel tasting. When we went through this, because I poured this second, and we got to this and I went, what the heck is going on? This thing is cloudy. Who makes a freaking rosé that's cloudy? I said, well, let's put it aside. And we did the tasting. We got to the Syrah and we had another weird experience on the Syrah. We tasted everything. We came back. They unwound themselves and they opened up and they were fantastic.
Yeah, ironically,
And it was-
this almost needs to open up a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It does,
not
yeah.
unlike.
Who the hell has a rosé that needs to open up?
What's
man?
really cool about this is I've got the varietals I love. I've got not 5 but 6 Bordeaux varietals because I got the classic Carmenere besides. And I've got myself a summertime wine because this is chilled, by the way. This is not served at red wine temperature. This is a chilled wine. So we got some refreshment for the summertime.
Yeah.
It's different.
Hey,
I don't know
Russell.
what else to say.
Hey, Russ, right? Can you go have Andrew get the price sheet that I have? He'll know what it is. It's the sheet we used to price the wines. I want to make sure I give the right price. Retail price on this is $20. You gotta love that. That's really, this is gonna appeal to that big red wine. I only drink red wine. That I'm not going to the pink world, and no way you're not gonna get me there. I think you can get them.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is different. I mean, so what kind of foods are we talking about here with this? Because this is not
So
anything else.
one of the things I love doing is in my house we eat a lot of raw oysters. So I take like a beet horseradish and put a little balsamic and a little olive oil and some shallot and boom, it's money. I'm telling you that the beets and the. But ironically, there's almost a citrusy quality to it, like a tropical kind of.
There is. It's great. So did you pull the skins away pretty quickly on this?
Oh, super quick. Yeah. I mean, we usually saute within. I mean, as the fruit's coming out, we're sauteing and pumping out. And I only did 1 barrel of this. That's all there's ever going to be is 25 cases.
Right.
Oh, you better get in line then to buy that. What did I say? 20? I'm at 80.
Well, the rest of it, the hard part is the rest of it just gets pumped down the drain. So maybe next year we'll do a little bit more. But I wasn't sure what it was going to come out like. And
Well, that is pure unique.
it is unique.
Yeah, that is big time unique. Wow. Well, you can't go wrong with that puppy dog right there. So that we'll have that available in the tasting room. Starting tomorrow, those of you that are from the local area, we've got a brand new tasting menu. And the new menu is a representation of all 9 wineries. You'll get to taste 9, thank you. You get to taste 9 wines
In one flight.
in one flight. We bumped the price up. It's going to cost you a little more. It's $15, not $10. But if you're a wine club member, you don't pay for that anyway.
So I get to taste 9 wines for $15.
Yeah. But if you buy a bottle of wine, then it's on the house.
Don't apologize for 15. 15 is an amazing price for 9.
For 9, oh, you're damn right. And it's really, and it's a killer list, man. It represents truly, it's probably one of the best tastings you're going to have. It's got it all in there. I got the Cab Franc on that side. I think we're going to blow the door off of that. So anyway, so that starts tomorrow. And so Yahoo. And now we're 9, so you got to come and check it out. All right, next we want to do the Chardonnay. All right. So tell me the style of this Chardonnay, because everybody's all over the board. They're either in the stainless steel world, or they're oaky buttery, or they're halfway in between. Or
All right, so this is kind of a unique Chardonnay as well. It's first of all, it's 100% Wenny clone.
so tell
It's-
them what Wendy clone, what we're talking about.
Well, technically, I don't know if the Wenties were the ones who I'm assuming.
It came from that vineyard,
Yeah.
the Wente clone. So you can actually go and register a clone that you have identified to be unique in your particular vineyard, and you actually get to name it too. And in this case, obviously.
And
the
so
Wente.
for me, the thing about Wente clones is the flavor profile. It's just got like this Meyer lemon and honeysuckle. It's just a beautiful clone. And I found a vineyard that was 100% planted to Wente. in Green Valley, which is a sub-appellation in Russian River. And what's really cool about this vineyard is the fruit can hang a super long time, and because it's a cold area inside of the Russian River appellation, I can run it 100% through ML, but there's still so much acidic structure to it, and I think Chards really do benefit from acid structure. I can give it the mouthfeel, I can have the structure, I can have the acid. This was aged for almost 2 years in new Hermitage barrels. New, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, 3-year dry aged Hermitage. So for me, I actually made this white wine for my wife. She's a Chardonnay lover. She loves big wines. I make big wines, and this has that almost oily component to it that I think only the best vineyards in the world have. Kind of on the roof of your mouth is that real beautiful texture to it. It has all the Meyer lemon, honeysuckle, butterscotch, and then on the finish I just get this beautiful nutty hazelnut kind of thing. And that's the barrels coming into play. But
How old are those barrels?
oh, they're new.
New.
Yeah, 100% new.
Wow.
All these
This man's
wines.
got guts in his winemaking. He says, you know what, I'm not going to follow rules and go follow my gut. And so far, you've done some really unique things.
Yeah, that is, well, first of all, very rarely do you really see 100% new oak, and you certainly don't see it more than maybe 14 months, maybe. Wow.
Yeah, they're pretty unusual.
That, usually it's some combination, so that you're reaching out.
I think this was 20 months. It wasn't
Wow.
quite 2 years. It was like a little over a year and a half.
What's that going to do for the ageability of the wine?
Yeah.
Well, so fundamentally, I mean, the tannic quality of the barrel is going to help it age. I think there's a wine that I absolutely love, and it was from a vineyard they called Seascape, and it used to be a KJ thing. I don't know what they do with it now, but it's a really interesting story behind that. But the guy who made that wine made a wine very similar to this, and I never forgot that. And I popped a bottle of Seascape that we had cellared for, God, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and it drank beautifully.
Yeah.
So, what will happen with this? I think it's got some time on it still, and it's a beautiful wine. I mean, it might slightly change color a little bit as time goes on, but the flavors are just intense on this.
Now, did you do any large formats of the
I
Chardonnay?
didn't, no, none of the.
Did you do large formats of anything else?
I do have some cab large format.
Okay. People always ask, but Chardonnay is kind of fun. I like it in a 3-liter bottle because really, then you could really age it, and it's going to stand up to it, which is most Chards are not going to do that. But
So admittedly, right, this isn't a Chard for everybody. You sort of have to like big over the top wines, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on it.
Well, first of all, I'm just looking at the color. It's darker than some of the normal Chardonnays that I'm seeing, just even out of here. It just seems to be just a little bit darker. I don't know whether that's because of the barrel and
a little bit of
such.
oxidation.
There's something there, and you're right, and I can't place it. I'm not.
well, that's your barrel right there.
Yeah.
You're pulling that color right out of that barrel. Yeah.
I like it. I like the mouthfeel of this.
It's big. It's in your mouth. It doesn't go away fast.
No, I mean,
It has a finish that just keeps going on and on.
Yeah, nice long finish, which I love in a Chardonnay too.
Yeah, this is going to have some longevity to it because it's already starting as kind of a big daddy of a Chardonnay, and it's going to hang in there pretty long. Much like some of the classic European Burgundian Chardonnays, those finer Chardonnays from Burgundy have that same kind of ageability, and you've found a way to bring that here, which is great.
so when it ages, what flavor characteristics do you think will enhance or maybe diminish over, when you're talking 5, 10 years from now? I let this sit down.
It's a really good question. I think the minerality will kind of come out a little more as
Okay.
some of the Meyer lemon flavors dissipate a little bit. I think
Okay.
that's just a natural thing that occurs in wines. In red wines particularly, after a lot of time in bottles, the components will kind of mellow out a little bit. It all comes together. So, it may tame into a really nice, pretty wine. But right now, to me, it's just a big, opulent Chardonnay. That's,
Well, we just did a lobster lunch on Saturday. That'll hold up just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you could beat that that lobster all over that. There's no problem.
Well, I know if I love steak and I love Chardonnay, I've got a good shot at making this work anyway.
You know, I've got to say something. It's really interesting, and for fun, we should do this after we've gone through the red wines. This is the only Chardonnay I've ever had.
Wow, something about mayonnaise or something.
Yeah, we're live. Then you are now.
What are you guys doing?
So hi to the world.
Great. You know
Yeah.
what? Audio, visual, all that stuff's gonna be fantastic.
Okay.
We're gonna put it together and then we'll crush it. We had a concert out here on Sunday that he orchestrated with actually a baby grand piano right here, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
So we'll show some clips of that, and you can give me some clips.
Yes, I will.
All right.
You
Love
guys
that.
have a good one, man.
All right.
Take care. Bye.
So what I was saying is, after we have some of the red wines, it's kind of interesting to go back and try this, because a lot of times the big over-the-top red wines will completely mute out any hope of having, fun drinking a white wine. This wine completely holds up.
Absolutely.
And so one of the things that's really fun to do when we're out at dinners, we bring a couple bottles of wine, a white, one of our Chards and our reds, and you can just go back and forth, and you don't miss a beat, which is kind of fun.
Well, I'm loving that, and boy, my oaky buttery customers are going to be all over that. They'll be diving their teeth into that.
It's very-
retail on that is 45, so you got to love that.
It's kind of reminiscent to like a rum style.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I hear that all the time. You have something like rum, and then I give them a stainless steel, and they go, "That's what I love." I go, "That's so weird." No, it happens all the time because people have no clue what they're doing. Now, tell me a little bit about this Pinot Noir. This is 2012 Pinot. It's coming from the Indidoli vineyard.
Carmine Indidoli is a dear friend of mine, mentored me in many ways in the wine industry, vineyard manager, just an extraordinary human being. He and I talked about putting together a Pinot vineyard for me many, many, many years ago. And about, I don't know, it was 5 or 6 years ago, we actually planted. We got a lease on some property off of Olivet and planted this vineyard. And it is, this wine's really a tribute to Carmine. I just love the guy, and we had fruit that we could have made in 2011, but we just dropped everything. It wasn't going to be up to par for my first Pinot release, because this is the first Pinot I've made for my program. Aged again for almost 2 years in 100% new French oak, Hermitage, Gamay barrels.
Wow.
And huge extraction on this wine. We did about a 40% Sauvignon on the Pinot. So it's not your delicate, light kind of wine.
Yeah.
This is a over the top, like mocha coffee.
Jumping and screaming. Now, how much of this did you make? You didn't make much of any of these wines.
No, I don't make much. I think we have 100 cases. I think.
100 cases. You guys understand that? 100, really? Those big wineries spilled that yesterday.
Well, I could have made almost twice. Well, at least 150, but we saugneed out so much of it. Thank you. That's why I make wine. That's exactly why.
Wow. So I get more fruit than some of the others that it's not got the earthy for me that I pick out of some other ones.
Oh, that's a fruit wine.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
It's-
great vintage year. I mean, 2012, pretty hard.
13's better.
That's what I keep hearing.
No,
I talked
and this
to,
is, they're really similar stylistically. But I mean, just in general, just the Pinots from 13.
Do you think were the yields a little lower on 13? Very
Right.
similar years in the growing season.
So, for us, we're always harvesting pretty much the same yield. Our vineyards are all farmed at 2 to 2.5 tons an acre, and that's it. And then we saugnier when we get an acre. So, that never really is an influence in my winemaking, because we're always shooting for 2 to 2.5 tons. And listen, we'll let stuff hang. Some of these wines we have here, we'll let hang into October, well through October and into November before we pick, because the fruit's not ripe. I mean, it's not to my specification. Technically, it's probably ripe, but when I walk in the vineyard, if I don't get the flavors that I want, I'll let it sit. I don't care. So this is a byproduct of a good year, and also, letting some fruit sit out there for a while that others would have picked long ago. But I never want to make an insipid wine. I never want to make a wine that people, when they drink, they don't say, wow. I mean, that's the biggest compliment I could ever get. And that's what I love. Absolutely love it. Thank you.
Oh no.
Yeah, so retail on this is 50, and again, small production wine. This is a big mouthfeel. This has got all the there's nothing wimpy about that. Now, what do you think? You know, I've been out in the vineyard last week, and I saw veraison happening, and what's your take? I've heard from wineries, in fact, one winery said that they were getting ready to harvest within the next week for like champagne.
Oh, for champagne. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't see that.
But
Early.
what do you think? What are you getting as far as what's going on? We've had this like drought here, which kind of pushed things a little forward.
Our vineyards are great.
Everything I've seen
actually
looks really good.
I may be picked out and barreled down by the end of by Halloween, which would be very well, not barreled down, but I mean, you know, like we're letting it do its thing in the winery 100% by the end of October.
The end of that was cocoa, and I don't get that much in.
And you're not
Pinot.
talking sweet. You're talking
No.
classic cocoa.
Oh yeah. Oh, at the end, just went whoosh, like, hello.
Well, and I can say, because I've tasted every Pinot, you know, I have all of them in here, and this is a very welcome. I mean, it's a you're hanging with everybody else within the wine, because I think all the Pinots in this establishment are awesome, and you're hanging with those folks, and that's, to me, I think that's one of the better compliments I can give you is you're right there at the top with everybody else.
There are a lot of ways to make Pinot, and I've had Pinots that are very light, that are beautiful wines. I've had classically made Pinots that I think are, I love Pinot, right? So there's all these styles you can have. This is a particular way of making wine, my way. I like to make what I like to drink. So it's a big Pinot. It's just that simple. I mean, I did a big Saunier. I used 100% new oak. Got a great vineyard. Manage it meticulously. So, you know, when people drink that wine, they'll know what I'm about. That is very expressive of me. And by the way, that's still bottle shop. I mean, it's got time to go. That thing's just going to get better and better and better.
So you're saying with the bottle shot, it's being a little bit backward for the moment,
Yes, for the
and
moment.
yet it's still getting all that power out of it.
Absolutely. And if it sits there for a few more hours, it'll just get better and better.
Just
and
keeps
better.
opening up. Yeah. You get that darker fruit right now. You got a really great smooth mouthfeel. It's really well
Texture is
extracted.
critical.
Great texture, and it carries through to the palate at the end with the very end.
Right at the end
Just a
too.
touch
Just
of-
went
here's a
whoosh.
little cocoa
I just got
for
this
you.
nice rush of cocoa and went, thank you. That was really nice. Yeah, and that's not wimpy. I mean, again, there's nothing wimpy about any
And
of
there's
these.
plenty of tannin there too to carry it for
All right,
many years.
so because we haven't had your wines in here, normally we have a pretty normal menu in the tasting room. Yours is the only one that's got a lot of different varietals. So would you next go to the Cabernet Franc?
Wow, that's a really good question.
Because it's either the Cabernet
Yeah, I
Franc
think the Cab Franc and then the Meritage.
and then the Syrah and then the Cab.
Yeah,
That.
and this is not a. Well, you can decide for yourself.
Well, I'm a big Cab Franc fan. I love Cabernet Franc. There's two things I look for when I go out wine tasting. Those of you guys that tuning in, my wife and I we go wine tasting all the time, and any day off that I have, I literally go to wineries and taste wine. What I'm looking for most of the times is a really good rosé, a Cabernet Franc, or a Malbec. I don't see as much Malbec, but when I see Cab Franc, my ears are going up. But it's got to be good juice, or you might as well use it as a blender. And so that's my take on Cabernet Franc. So wow. Woo.
Well, Cab Franc can really pull some crazy vegetal characteristics. And
Yeah.
I've made 2 single vineyard 100% Cab Francs. Usually they all end up in my blends, but I had some of this in 10 that I really love. And again, 10, we fought it. We learned how to be winemakers in 10. 10 and 11 is like, we all cut our teeth on winemaking. And, I pulled out all the stops. I think I did a pretty good job. But
So 2010, An interesting year. I mean, challenging to a degree. You had to really pay attention. Now this is Mayakama fruit.
West side of the Mayacamas, at about 1,300 feet, I think the vineyard sits.
Wow, that's
And this
like-
was 3
that's like-
years and
that's like the
100%
top.
new French oak.
How many?
3 years.
3 years.
Darnajou, Taranso, 100%.
Karen, so, and what else?
I have Darnajou, Taranso, Gamba. What else should I use on
All,
here?
all the good names. The bottom line is all the good names.
Well, the Darnajou is so sexy. And Taranso
Yum,
just,
yummy, yummy. This is what I look for in Cabernet Franc all day long. I want a little bit of chocolate in the back end, you know what I mean? And you know, you mentioned the vegetable side of that, and I don't.
Oh, it's not in
anywhere.
there.
No, it's not anywhere near that, and I see that all the time, and that doesn't sit well with me. It might sit well with that bottle of wine a couple years down the road.
Right.
That might subside a little bit and not be so in your face, but in the nose, I want to think like a Hershey, chocolate bar. I want to really have that, and I'm getting all that big fruit, and
But
I'm
you're
getting
getting,
that.
you're getting a classic Cab Franc nose. You're getting a classic backbone of black cherry,
I was going to say blackberry, anything.
some dark
yeah.
stone fruit in there.
dark stone fruit.
Almost
wow.
leathery.
Yeah, I'm getting that kind of as a family resemblance across all these wines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's some character there.
Look at the color
Yeah,
of that.
from the Meritage.
Karina, get a shot of that, man. Look at the color. That bad boy is just nasty. Look at that.
Well, again, these wines are all heavily extracted.
Oh no, there's no doubt about it.
Cherry cola.
Yeah, so you wimpies don't come in and try to move me around
The
here
Dr.
on this.
Pepper of
You're
wine.
going the wrong way. You want the real deal. We're gonna have fun with this because I get people in here all the time. They go, "I like a big one. Now give me your big one." You know, they do it all the time. So I like having this in my pocket and go, "All right, well, what about this?" So this is on the tasting menu. The new menu that starts tomorrow. It's one of the 9 wines in the tasting flight. So I
Janet
think
just found cinnamon in here, which I absolutely agree with. There's a great
Oh, yeah.
lacing,
Yeah.
lacing of cinnamon.
She's
You know, and
got a
as
great
as this
palate. You
wine
should be on
opens
the
up,
show.
it's really interesting.
Yeah.
It would make
I
it
mean, we
good
just
at
pulled the cork
Thanksgiving.
on this thing.
And
Make it good Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Give it a half hour,
Retail
that
on that
thing
is 48.
It
And
explodes.
let me just tell you guys a little bit about what's going on this weekend. This weekend we've got the house, and we have John Pita on Friday and Greg Youter on Saturday. Wine Club members, it's the 3rd weekend of the month, so you have a pickup party, and many of you have wines to pick up, so get your little tails in there and pick up the wine. I'm not a storage department, but anyway, we'll store it if you can't come in. But we'd love to have you come in, and when you do, we'll pour you some of these wines, and yeah, you get a real treat. You got 9 to choose from. That's pretty darn good. Very few people have 9 wineries to choose from in their wine club shit. So that's what's going on this weekend. The weather's fabulous. If you guys are looking for a breakaway, wine country's looking pretty good right now. Yeah, I mean,
Feeling pretty
seriously, right? I mean, it's kind of muggy today. I mean, it's
It's nice.
This is
and look at Brad. Brad, does this seem muggy to you? I just wanted to check and see if it was
Hey,
it
after
muggy
being
enough?
out in Dillon Beach, this is a heat wave. I had no idea how cold Dillon Beach was. Lord,
Well,
somebody turn up the
People,
heat.
people don't have any clue how damn cold that ocean. It is really cold, and the ideal time for those of you that are ever going to plan a trip, and you want to hang to the ocean, the best time to go there is more like August and September, or even in November if it's not been raining. That's actually pretty darn nice. I've been out at the beach 70 degrees in November, and once that fog blows out, it's pretty nice. But boy, is it cold. Oh, I know. Why? Oh, they'll come then, huh? And they'll take all the hotel rooms and they'll have a place to stay. All right.
What I
All
like
right.
about this as an example, you read about different blending grapes, the Cab Francs, the Petit Verdot, and so on. To sit there and see what that grape can offer by itself, it kind of helps you kind of then say, okay, when I do a blended wine and so on, here's what this grape has given me, because you have an excellent example of what that grape can do for you.
And a little Franc in a blend goes a long way.
Yeah, yeah.
It really does.
You put 5 and 8% in there, it's like, that's great. It's wonderful.
That's
Which
a
is
great
perfect
call.
setup for the next one.
You got a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, no,
there,
it is.
sis?
It is.
We got a question. Go ahead, fire away.
Dan wants to know how you decided to name the winery.
All right, before you answer that, let me make a comment to Dan. I saw your tomato thing, your tomato patch that you grew with tomatoes, dude. Heck, I could have done that in February. I just wanted to let you know about that. So the question is, how did you come up with the name?
So
And Dan's in Iowa, and now it's warm. But normally when we talk to him, he's got snow up to his nose, and it's not very fun. But anyway, how did you get the name?
I love Cabernet. That is like my thing. I love Cabernet, and I also absolutely love Syrah. And my vision was always to do a Cab Syrah blend. So ultimately, Super Sonoman was a play off of Super Tuscan, but it was going to be the California style of Super Tuscan. So Super Sonoman just sort of turned out to be, I had Cabs and I had Syrahs, and I really didn't blend them because I like the purity of doing single vineyard 100% wines. And you know, one of the things, and maybe this is interesting to tell the guys, one of the things that I do is 100% single vineyard wines. I do a blend, I call it a meritage. But my other stuff, it's all pure. And if it's a Chardonnay, it's a single vineyard, and it's usually single clone. If it's a Cabernet, it's could be a couple clones, but it's always single vineyard stuff. So you really get the expressive quality of wherever that vineyard is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good question, and it is a play off of Super Tuscan.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you came up with that. You ran through a bunch of names and went, no one's got that name. Right?
It just sort of fell off my tongue one day, and I don't know. I've heard two sides of this, you know, do this, don't do that, whatever. But I like it, and I do what I like, and that's just that.
Well, you know the other thing too is it's a name that you won't forget. The problem that a lot of winemakers and a lot of winery owners do, they get so passionate about the name thing, they don't think about it in the marketing sense, and most of the time you forget the name or you go, it's that, and they're fumbling to get the name. They're not going to fumble to get the name. I mean, that's so important, but it's emotional because you guys get emotional on it, and that's good, but you picked it right, and that's a name, they'll either get Super or Sonoman, somewhere they're going to get, it's going to come one side or the other. They're going to definitely remember that.
Well, hopefully they get what I'm doing in the bottle, right? I mean,
Well, that's beautiful Cabernet Franc. You gotta love that. And again, retail on that is $48. Love it. All right, so now, is it a toss-up or we go Meritage or Syrah?
I think do the meritage.
Okay. All right. I just hate all these decisions I have to make.
And
So
so
that's good though, because that Syrah is a monster, and that's good to let that breathe a little bit.
So this is 3 Cab vineyards, Petit Verdot, and Cab Franc. More Petit Verdot than Cab Franc.
Really?
Yes, and in
What do you have the most of?
in two Cabernet,
Oh, okay.
and then
From
about
3 separate vineyards,
Yeah,
correct?
Wow. And then all
it's
right,
primarily Nice Valley. There's a little
That's
bit
not a
of,
bad place
of Redwood
either.
Hill, just a
that's
touch of
another one
Redwood
of those
Hill.
cool places. Now, are these vineyards
How you
that
like
you're?
me now?
Are the? Yeah, that's nasty. Are you? Are those vineyards you're contracting with? Or
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have? And you know, maybe there's questions we should have talked about before we got together here, but. Do you have vineyards that you own?
No, I
You
own-
contract all.
That's right.
Okay.
I have leases and contracts on it.
Well, and people ask that question all the time. They say, where are their vineyards? And I go, look, you're talking about 300,000 an acre for dirt. I mean, this is not for the faint of heart. You got a crop that you would plant and wouldn't see a dollar for probably 7 years, and that's a lot of dough to be, for
Yeah,
a small
I want
producer.
to know that the wine I like is going to continue to be the wine I like because the resources are going into the right places. And you're doing that with you're not locked into a piece of dirt, as Scott says, but you can adjust your blend and everything else because you control, I'm assuming you control a lot of the management
Oh, absolutely,
of
yeah.
the vineyard. So you're making all the same decisions.
Yeah.
It's just that you
No, and the fruit is not cheap. You know, you could buy the dirt for 300 grand. You could also spend a hell of a lot of money per ton on fruit.
Oh, right.
And that's-
Yeah.
And so when we're
Complete
talking
there.
about going into a vineyard and say taking over an acre and a half or 2 acres and telling a farmer who owns that, hey, listen, we only wanted 2 tons an acre. I mean, I tell you what, this
Yeah.
it's not inexpensive. And these are, you know, this is primarily Cabernet from Knights Valley at about 1,500 feet, and you know, it just farming it isn't. This is a 50-degree slope on that cab vineyard. It's all hand picked in boxes because you can't.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to get up.
Yeah, you're not taking big old giant tractors.
No.
Let's go through the vineyard. No, I don't think so. 4-wheel drive
Right.
only. Yeah, it's like
Actually, you can only walk up it. There's no way to even get a.
Well, I took my wife one day up to Rock Pot,
Yeah.
and I go, God, we want to go. I want to just like see the vineyard. And let's just drive in the vineyard. So I took my truck, my 4-wheel drive, that's right there, and I get off into the vineyard, and I realize there's a slope, like it's going down 40 feet. I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm in the 4-wheel drive, and she's screaming, like, get us the hell out of here. And I'm like, I'm kind of like in a no man's land because I can't turn around. There's only like that much room. And I did like a 300 turn, you know, you go back and forth, and she literally was going to open the door and jump out of the car. She wanted she thought, well, if you're going to tumble over, I'm staying here. But it was like this, man. That was crazy stuff. So I can appreciate that. That's
How about that lobster lunch this last week?
yeah, we had a great time. Those of you that have never done a lobster lunch in the vineyard thing, it's probably the coolest event ever. And just for those of you that have never seen lobster lunch, Karina, go ahead and fire that up. Run that little video on the lobster lunch. This is what we did. Well, we have a new video that Karina created. But this is what we did on Saturday, lobster lunch in the vineyard.
This is
Pretty
new
cool.
vid-
No, it's not. We're coming back. We're back? All right, so if you guys want to have like the coolest event ever, I don't know what would possess you to not want to go to the lobster lunch. I'm just telling you, that's the coolest event. It's a great event. Is it a great event? I'm just telling you. Those that have been, right? Your first time, how good is that?
Ovation.
Right?
A standing
A
ovation.
standing ovation on the lobster lunch. So August 9th at James Family Cellars, we've got the lobster lunch 1 to 5 or 1 to 4. Tickets are $95. Get them while they're hot, and you're going to have the greatest time ever. Trust me, absolutely. And you will go away stuffed. In fact, you'll probably go away with a bag full of shrimp and stuff because there's always extras. So anyway, that's coming up. A great event that we put on in the vineyard. We're really digging this Cabernet Franc, dude. I mean, this is well, what I have here's what you have to understand. I got to tell you this, so everybody here can see this. When we look at a winery, we never taste with the owners and the winemakers ever. We taste in a panel, so we have nothing to influence us whatsoever. We don't even necessarily look at price point, but we want to be realistic. But we don't in the initial stage. Clearly, that's not going to be a fact. So if it was just a real bargain, that's not going to sway me. It's based on what's in the glass. And I got to tell you, and we had a really diverse group. We really had it. We had everything from the high-end expert to the novice, and they were freaking out on these wines. This rocked the house. This just took them home and just said, "Oh my God!"
Is this the one that opened up later?
No, it's the Syrah, the next one. No, it's the next one. Yeah. Because she was here, she saw that. It was unbelievable. So, I mean, I don't pull punches because if they didn't make the grade. I mean, I love you, man, and you know we're gonna have a great relationship here, and it's gonna work really well. But seriously, if it didn't hit the grade, I would have pulled it. I wouldn't have done it at all. If there were two or three that were just so okay, I would not do it. It's not what we do. It's consistent across the grade. That's what we want to do, and that's what you did. So hats off to you.
Well,
'cause I don't make wine.
I've got to say, a comment was just made, and the whole thing about cabs out of Sonoma County.
Yeah.
Sonoma County is a big place, and there's some really interesting cab vineyards. But the really interesting cab vineyards are these little micro vineyards that you have to know about and know where they are and understand why you want to be there. All these wines that I make are from very steep, very high altitude, and those west side Mayakama mountain fruit.
Yeah.
And I share these vineyards with some very notable winemakers, which you might not even, I could talk all day long, but some of these guys are super high-end guys, and we share the vineyards. Our blocks touch each other. There's a reason these guys use these blocks out of Sonoma County, because they're phenomenal vineyards. And if you know how to manage the wine, and you know how to tame the shrew, which is the tannins, right? I mean, there's big tannins on those hillside fruits. And I think,
Hell yeah.
I think a large part of my love for Sonoma County is that indeed you can get Cabernet that structurally has a flavor profile like that.
Yeah.
And I have some cabs here. If you drank them and you didn't have a blindfold on, you wouldn't know if it was a Napa cab or some kind of combination of it's just pure Sonoma fruit. Over the top, big, dark stone fruit, beautiful leather and sort of tobacco-y, cedar box kind of qualities to them. They're awesome.
Yeah.
But not all vineyards are created the same. Not all winemakers do the same thing with vineyards. But
Well, it starts in that vineyard, man. If you do it right there, the rest is up to you. So I get what's really funny is, as you were talking there, right? So I'm watching it, and I'm seeing all these people. They're going. No, but they're talking to me, not you. All right. So we're at the. Here we go. I had it in order. There we go. Syrah. Right.
sure, whatever. The cab.
These are your-
It doesn't. They're all.
Well, we
pretty-
finished with cab just because it's supposed to be.
All right.
Doesn't mean a whole lot. But this, okay, again, when we did the tasting, we went, what the heck was going on here in the Syrah? And I told everyone that we tasted with, I said, just put it aside. Let's finish the tasting. Let's go back to this. This thing is tighter than a drum. Now, this has been sitting for a little bit. Oh, that's...
So, all these wines are again 100% New French oak, 2 years. This is Terranceau and Gamba.
So say that again. Say it for them.
These are Terranceau and Gamba vineyards.
Okay. For those that don't know, what are you telling them?
The cooperage.
The cooperage?
Yeah, there are 2 cooperages.
And why did you use it?
There's a really beautiful quality that the Terranceau barrel adds to a Syrah. It's just, you get it in the nose, right? It's like
It's that cocoa chocolate thing
Yeah.
again. That's exactly what I look for in these big reds. It's just my thing.
And
It's
so like when I make wine, these are big extracted wines. I don't pull the fruit in and make wine. I pull the fruit in and I manipulate the fruit, and I dump a ton of it back out down the drain. As soon as it hits the deck, we literally stomp it and push it down the drain to concentrate. And it all is, it all comes down. We all hear about phenolics, right? And I don't want to get into the weeds on this, but in essence, a bottle of wine is about 80% water, about 15% alcohol, and about 5% everything else. We want to make that 5% a little bit bigger. And when you do that, and you extract wines and you pick them later, and these are all in the 15s, these are higher alcohol wines, you've got to match them with oak that can stand up to it. So we do medium plus and heavy toast barrels.
You
particularly
toasted heads too?
toasted on the Syrah toasted heads, and it just really it makes the wine quite expressive. And there's almost like with the gamba barrels, there's almost this odd sort of cheesy thing that happens with those barrels, and not cheesy like it's
Where's
a
the
cheesy
chocolate
wine.
ice cream?
There's this really cool sort of underlying.
I want an ice cream cone. I want to pour that right over the top, man. That is? Well, first of all, you get the leatheriness. You just get that cocoa chocolate. Oh, the chocolate just just jumps right out of there. Holy Toledo!
How in depth? You're
Wow.
the first one that heard that talks.
Now, those of you
different
that are watching, Dan and Dazelle and you guys, my bloggers out there, these wines will be in the very next wine club shipment, and so we'll send them to you in advance so you can taste right along with us. But we're gonna pick one of these wines, and they're gonna rock your house, man.
And these wines are interesting. I think any one of my wines, you can pop a cork on it, you can pour yourself a glass, you can come back the next day, pour another glass, you can come back the next day, and it just gets better and better.
Right.
And the sweeter fruit opens up, more aromatics. I've done this. I've played this game on all my wines. It's what I do, right? I mean, I have fun with it, and I've had wines uncorked for 2 weeks and just never oxidized. They just get better and better. I think, dang, man, that's just crazy.
Well,
How
this
long are
thing-
these things gonna last in bottle?
I'm just telling you guys, buy this wine. Just open it up a couple hours before you're going to serve it to your guests, because this thing could be tighter than a drum. But oh my gosh, does that get nice? And the other reality on this has some great ageability. I mean,
Oh.
This is a 09,
Decades.
right?
It'll
A 9. This is 2009.
Yes.
So, yeah, you could throw. We talk about aging wine all the time. You guys really need to understand. You can take these Syrahs, and this is a great example of one you could really lay down.
And
Big time.
interestingly enough, we have the 08 here in your library. Same vineyard, exact same treatment. 08 is like this intense, fruit forward, massive fruit bomb. This is almost, the 9 vintage is almost a more Rhone style, intense, heavy Rhone style.
Right.
Syrah.
I would be
So-
Scott was talking about. How about screw tops versus cork for long-term aging? Would you ever do any of your wines in screw top? Or are you looking at even contemplating that?
I'm not contemplating. I am a traditionalist and I love cork. Cork clearly has flaws, but I think screw tops do too. And without getting negative on screw tops, that there's some things you need to do with sulfur adjustments, I think, to make those work, and that can impact the wine. When I make my wines, I use very little sulfur. I'm huge on managing the pHs on these wines, and I think they're great. They work for a lot of winemakers. It's not for me.
Sorry, Scott, I didn't mean to
No. I just, but he had made a comment about library wines. One of the things that Chris and I talked about when he was coming into the room, he's got several wines where he's got some libraries already established. And you guys know we have the library lounge upstairs. So guess what we've got? We've got 07 Meritage. How would you like to put that together in your little vertical? 08 Cab, 08 Syrah, 09 Meritage, 09 Cab. We've got those running, and well, we used to. Actually, we don't anymore because Brad just bought them all. Damn it, I hate when that happens. I hate that. Sorry, I know you said go. No, he brought a big car, so we're loading that up. Well, we used to have library wines, and we'll do it again. All right, Brad, way to go. I mean, those are some great vintage years. Oh God. What are you eating with this? Well, you better go big, or you might as well go home.
I love lamb chops. I mean, I know it sounds so cliche, but I do lamb chops smothered in rosemary and garlic,
Whoa.
and it's some kind of a fruit reduction.
I don't
sauce.
need a damn thing. I can just have it just the way it is. Karina, what's your question there? You got a question?
Okay, sorry.
Some lamb fat in there. It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
And he would like to know,
Oh, Dave.
the pot roast is slow cooking right now. What would be a good wine to take home to pair with that?
Oh my God. If
Pot
you're-
roast?
So here's the deal: if you're doing a pot roast,
Oh, he's doing it. It's right there.
it's like beef, big beef dough, right? Take that pot roast, grab a half a bottle of that stuff, and dump it in there, and just reduce it down with the meat. Money, you will be loving life.
See, I like that because that's a $2 2-bottle buy. I like that. Thank
But
you.
you know,
I love that.
granted,
Love it.
I cook a lot with my own wines, right?
Well, you should.
But
Yeah.
you know, and you could probably use any Syrah, frankly, and get a very similar result. But the key is reduce it down and incorporate it into the meat, and you will be in heaven.
Wow.
Oh, sure.
That is just stupid good. You guys have no idea that are why I'm talking to my audience, not you guys. You guys are drinking it, but you guys are in for a treat because one of these is going to be in the next shipment, and that's pretty damn.
How do you choose that? What makes you
Well,
choose
let's
that?
taste the
Here-
next one
here's-
before we get to comment on which one we. 'Cause some of us might have oh no, pick that one. So let's taste this next one and then we'll pick.
Oh, wait a minute.
I don't think we
I
have
didn't
any
know.
votes.
I'm not sure if you're voting on this. not only do I not taste with the wineries and the winemakers, I don't let anybody decide the shipment. That one's me. Yeah, but I'll pour this. This is Cabernet Sauvignon. This is 2010. It's Knights Valley Cab. And oh, that's going to be now 100% cab.
100% single vineyard cab. It's clones 15 and 337. This vineyard's at 1,500 feet, and it's on a
Yeah.
50-degree slope.
Those are at the top of the mountain. That mountain isn't very big.
Well,
that's got to be at the.
it's on the west. So if you're going up Mark West, you know where the animal park is?
Yeah.
There's a vineyard way up. If you look up on the hillside up there, there's a vineyard. And the interesting thing is, it's west southwest facing, so it gets sun the entire day. And again, I just want to, for those of us in the know, this is a 2010. 3 years and 100% new French oak. And
Again,
Yeah.
all new French oak. It's two things, and I want you guys that are watching tonight to understand. When he says new French oak, that's a major investment for the winery to do that, and a small production winery doesn't get deals on barrels. And you know, so you have like this incredible cost. I mean, it is true though. I mean, and you have to appreciate that because he's willing to invest that heavy, and retail price on it is 65. I mean, what can I tell you? And we have some library wine on that. So,
Yes. Oh.
well, we have maybe a few. Rattled by the rest. But
what I want to point out,
Yeah.
most of you guys will agree with me on this. So, for me, winemaking is really tannin management. And again, I don't want to get into the weeds on this, but there are two kinds of tannins that you extract out of wine. Right? There's your mid-palate tannins that comes out of your seeds, that's alcohol soluble, and then there's the skin tannins, which are water soluble. The thing about these wines, every one of them that I make, is on the front end we do these really long, cold soak macerations. So I think this wine, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I think I went about 17 days in
That's really long.
45 degrees, so there's no aerobic activity, with dry ice on top, the whole deal. So, what we're doing is we're leaching out all the good stuff, the phenolics of the wine.
so in that, how do you know in that process to do it like that?
We taste every single day. You're drinking this stuff, and
So
you can see it, and you can literally smell it and taste it. And then when we've got it to a place where I've got it to a place where I feel like it's ready to go, then I fire it up, and we let it kind of come up to
So
temperature.
no fermentation because we're watching it.
Yeah. So explain to them what
And
what
it's
the fire
also,
up is.
it also
okay.
has there's no oxygen, right?
Right.
I mean, because we've got a gas cap on it, so nothing's going on.
Yeah.
And then we let it warm up, and then the natural yeast
So that's
will start the
that's your
fermentation.
fire up.
Just slowly letting it naturally warm up. So the natural yeast will start the fermentation, and once I see it drop 4 or 5 bricks, I whack it with the strain that I want to use for that particular long fruit. And then we also, because these
And
wines
that's the
come
moment fermentation is going to start. At that point, you can now set it up for fermentation.
right.
17 days in. For
Right,
something.
exactly. And then what ends up happening, with the way I make wine, because I really like the sweet tannin component. And if you have too much of that seed tannin, you get the astringency. Like, have you ever had a glass of wine where all of a sudden, like right here, it just kind of gets you? You're like, whoa. So the way, I'm going somewhere with this, by the way.
No,
The
okay.
way
I'm
we
getting
do this is I press this stuff off early. So the alcohol soluble tannins, those are the mid-palate ones that get you here.
Yep.
We actually press off prior to those being heavily extracted. So when you guys are tasting all these wines, one of the threads through it is they're very silky. The texture is really, really, there's a very soft, smooth, almost like water, but it's not, right?
Right.
That is not easy to do, and you have to literally press off early and finish primary fermentation in barrel.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the trick for me, making wines that I think are sexy and seductive, and then you add the bigger extracted component to it, and that's how I like my wine.
We like sexy wines.
Yeah.
We want sexy wines, no question about it.
Manage the acid levels on it, the pH.
Oh.
I mean, these wines are good with food, and they're good with the fireplace, and someone you love.
Ah. But it's not all that vegetable stuff that we talked about before. And that has always been a turnoff for me for a lot of the wines. I say Sonoma County, but I see them in other areas too. But I want a whole different structure. I want that big berry fruit. I want the cocoa and chocolate and all that, just that really nice back end. And
Well, I think we get those in those wines.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the threat.
You guys are gonna have no problem. So there's a question over there with the girl with the glasses. We call her Nita because we love her. That's Nita. There isn't any Zin in your portfolio.
No Zin. I love Zin though. I just haven't done one yet. Maybe this year.
But but there's a lot to be said for keeping a simple portfolio. Some winemakers get a little carried away. I won't name any names, but I know some that are all they just have too many SKUs. But all the wines are great, but it's like enough. You're not a storage company.
Just for fun,
Yeah. Okay.
re-pour the Chard. I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So
You're
I
gonna
need
be
help.
shocked.
I need help, Russ. I need 4 new glasses.
No. Just drink it out. I don't care if it's a little. It doesn't matter. No. It doesn't. I mean, it'll be a little pink, but it's not going to affect
This
the
is
flavor.
what I would do if I'm at my house.
Yeah.
Here, now go taste this.
All right.
It's
well,
not. It's not that. I mean, you're going to get a little bit.
Forget it, Russ. It's all right. All right. We're gonna rosé this.
Just give it a little swirl. They can dump it out.
Yeah, do a little cleansing.
He said no.
I said we changed our mind. Thank you, Russ. All right, so this is how for you guys that don't understand. Don't get away now. Stop.
See what I'm
Well,
talking
in a
about?
minute. When you want to go from red to white, you don't want to put water in there. You actually want to put the wine that you're going to drink in there, and then you just do this and you dump it out.
Or in my case, I drank it.
Well, some people drink it, but I'm not that classy. I didn't want to drink it.
I'm only doing this because we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us why are we going back to a white wine
Because
at
this
the
is
end of this gigantic dude?
This is a gigantic, huge white wine. It's not your typical white wine. It is a big white wine, and it can stand up to a red wine.
So what's that? I'm not, my sniffer's not good. What is that smell?
Well, first of all, you still have some of the other stuff.
Well, yeah, but outside of that, but I'm still getting that sweet.
Almost a hazelnutty.
Okay.
Yeah, hazelnut.
It's like
yeah.
and
Just a touch of oxidation that gives it some character. It's not a bad oxidation.
No, I just get,
what
there's a
happens
little
is it
sweetness
really
for
just
me.
opens up the nose.
Yeah.
Wow. Yummy,
yeah,
right? All those.
there aren't a
green
lot of
flavors.
shards you could do that with.
And
No,
who needs
oh,
a
hell
dessert
no.
wine when you can come back to this?
There's no residual sugar in there.
No.
No, that's the point.
It's less than 2 grams.
This is like pleasant, and I don't have to worry
No,
about the sugar.
it's really interesting, and this is the thing I try to tell people. It's like we pulled this fruit. This is, what is it? 14 something. Or, I don't know. It's big alcohol. And it just has this nut that Hermitage barrel just lends this hazelnutty quality to it. It's crazy. It's like you get that Meyer lemon and honeysuckle and a little butterscotch.
Wow. Yeah.
Nice. Anyway,
That's a big
I
one.
only did that to just kind of show you, like, as big as those reds are.
This
one's-
baby's big.
It's not your typical.
You want a
Chardonnay.
big Chardonnay, man. We are
It is.
clearly in the big Chardonnay world.
It's not crisp, lean, acidic.
No, it's not.
It's
No.
I don't let's come back to listen finish them. I'm serious.
Well, you know what you do is you do some cheese. You know that's how you
Here
really
comes the Manchego.
gravitate into it with the cheese. That would be awesome.
It's interesting though, right?
Yeah.
I want
Always
to
good to do
thank
that.
all of our guests that came and tasted wine with us, and I'm sure you loved what we had here. And Karina, of course, and Nita, my director of everything that's good. And I want to thank Dave and what's your name, Brad? Yeah, Brad. And Chris for welcome.
Thank you.
We will have you on as many times as you can handle being on the show. We love to showcase that. And thank you to all you guys in there that are spending money. Keep cash is better than credit cards. No. So anyway, it's wine country and it's a lot of fun time. This weekend, live music Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then a pickup party on Saturday from 1 to 4. So come down for that. And this is where you discover wine one sip at a time here at Cellars of Sonoma.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye for
now.
now.